So welcome back. This is video 5 of our informal language learning series. I have 4 little tabs there at the top of the screen. I'm just going to show you, give some commentary on each of them and the way that they can be of some use to you, be of good utility in your language learning. And each of them have different advantages. Some are visual and texty, if you will, and others are very interesting, have a lot of variety available to them, but they're going to be maybe more of a listening resource. This first one, Reddit. If you don't know it, Reddit is kind of like a pin board sort of thing, people pinning things, posting things on like a virtual notice board, and you can scroll past, you can upvote them. It's pretty neat. I think the idea of Reddit is very sound. There is so much content on there. It's unreal, and lots of it is just quirky and off the wall, such as we human beings often are. If you go on, for instance, Ask Reddit, some of the questions there are just mind-boggling. Some are definitely NSFW, so just kind of either change your settings on the profile, or learn to tiptoe around weird and creepy content on Reddit. But there is so much good stuff, particularly if you've got a little bit of time to just delve in and you're just curious to find something. That said, because of that, the variety of vocabulary that you're going to get is not not restricted to what the textbook wants to teach you. So here's a good example. Ist der Sauger Haustier geeignet? So I presume this person is talking about a like a vacuum cleaner, which is a Staubsauger, literally a dust sucker. So shorthand is the sucker, is the vacuum cleaner appropriate, or kind of is it okay to use a vacuum cleaner with pets? So is the sucker pet friendly? Bei dem steht das nicht dabei. Because it doesn't say. Basically, it's not clear with the with the instruction manual, or on the vacuum cleaner sticker. It doesn't say whether it's pet friendly. And someone has quite seriously posted that 8 hours ago on Reddit. I don't know whether that was ironic or not. If they're German, that might not have been ironic. God bless them. And the answer here, wenn ihr Haustier damit saugen soll, when you want to suck your pet with that, as in suck up the vacuum cleaner, it needs to be big enough, muss groß genug sein und einen Daumen zum Einschalten haben. I must honestly admit, I don't know what that means. Wenn Sie Ihr Haustier damit aufsaugen wollen, muss es kleiner sein als eine Maus. So your pet needs to be smaller than a mouse, möglichst nicht größer als eine Hummel. Yeah, not bigger than a lobster. There we go. I will say this, even at sixth form, because you're kind of restricted to teaching the syllabus and the curriculum, and you kind of get booked along by your head of department to make sure you teach the whole content, you just wouldn't really teach them zum Einschalten, möglichst Hummel. Even things like damn it, you wouldn't really specifically touch on that unless a student had seen that and asked the question. So this is a resource for students and language learners generally. Is brilliant because you can touch on all sorts. Now, I'm not gonna. I haven't actually checked what else is on this Reddit page, and as I say before, there is often some really weird content on Reddit. So if your child, or you're a younger individual, I would definitely recommend. There is some weird stuff on there, guys. So just make sure that your Reddit settings have been fixed beforehand. All right. lots of pictures. I think you need to make sure that your Reddit has been put into the German Reddit. So as you can see in the top, there is reddit.com/de. If you went on reddit.com or reddit.co.uk and you just simply typed in German, you might come across like people passionate about learning the German language, or German speakers in England. It wouldn't be specifically a German Reddit. And as I say, what the heck, we'll dive in. We'll see what we can find. There is a kind of like a German meme. That again is, as I say, this video is really just going to be me commenting on this as a resource generally. So I apologize if it bounces around, but memes are a superb way to kind of connect with meme culture, but kind of like the contemporary online culture of a place. Often the language is pretty interesting as well. Look, guys, separable verb, shower, an. Wow. And there's another thing, by the way. Stirbt ihr? The ihr form. I remember we went on a German exchange and we realized everyone around us was using ihr. It's quite normal for Germans to use ihr, and we had not taught it properly in the classroom. And so we it wasn't so much stressful as just a real, oh gosh, we need to kind of make sure we know this. 13-year-olds standing on a German Bahnhof, guys, it was just kind of one of those reckonings where you realized not everything you learn in the classroom is immediately relevant, and there is so much language around you, even just a coffee shop, that you don't understand, and you're going to need a bit of time to get the hang of it. And the classroom's great as a springboard, but the classroom needs to be designed and devised in such a way, and I do want to do another video on this as well. How do you design the classroom to be the best, most effective springboard, the best preparation for your students, so that they can kind of get out there into the real world of language, which is where you want them to kind of end up. We don't want to just have big overgrown language babies, if you will, who never leave home. They can never leave the classroom because it's too unpredictable. We want to be gradually getting our students to the point where they can go out into the real world. So here, text and face. Okay. Now, again, this is not always perfect. There are spelling mistakes, and in the German language, you want capital letters on your nouns. That's just one of the things about the language. I can't see any there. So clearly, this person is just being lazy. That's something that you might have to kind of reckon with on Reddit. Is the fact that it isn't perfect. I wouldn't therefore just copy it wholesale. It is actually quite satisfying when you're reading a piece of text and you realise, oh, that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong. Brilliant. You've actually learned. You would know how to correct it. Opsuche. There you go. And there's a bunch of specific vocabulary. So if we were on workplace, die Welt der Arbeit, die Arbeitsstelle, as a topic, probably at sixth form, you could go on and you could find very relevant vocabulary, an entire job description, less, and a ton of comments. It'd be really interesting to see what people are saying about that. Again, more memes. At the moment, at least, ton of memes kind of criticizing the Bundesregierung for, I must say, some pretty head scratchers, some pretty surprising decisions, shall we say. I'll try and keep that as neutral as possible. There's a bird. Beautiful. All right, so that's kind of Reddit. As I say, you can kind of search Reddit to find your niche, because you want to find your people, you want to find your interests. That will take some time. But there really is almost as much variety on Reddit as really the human experience can offer. I have been, as I say, I've been touched in and out with Spanish. I've also got a really cool Anglo-Saxon Old English language book that I've been switching in and out with. Um, and there's an Anglo-Saxon, really, a small niche, you know, unit of, well, not really a unit, but a small group of highly passionate, shall we say, your crack squad of Anglo-Saxon language learners who are active on Reddit, and that's the place where they go. And once you found them, it doesn't really matter that there's only 200 of them in the world. They're all there, and it's their thing. And they're posting and they're commenting, and there's a community that you can kind of bring yourself into of people who are congregating around a similar interest, and that's good, really. I mean, it obviously depends on the interest, but that's really good. Anyway, that's something that I would always want to encourage among my language students is figure out who you are, make sure that's a good person, and make sure that those interests you've got are good and moral and ethical and legal, and then dive right in, and go and find that I don't know, that Czech-speaking bird watcher, and connect. Um, so yeah, that's Reddit. And to find a channel, you just need to come up here, and well, there's a ton of news. Most of it's in English, which is interesting. You maybe want to need to play around with the settings to get everything into German. I think here you could click German. But yeah, let's just search for Vogel. Vogel anschauen, birdwatchers. And we want to go into communities. Oh, we couldn't find anything for Vogel anschauen. Let's just see if we can have Vogel. Click on communities. Interesting. Again, tons of English. So there you go. Vogelbeobachtung. Excuse me, guys. I use Vogel watching instead of literally bird observation. So here we go. You click into Birding Germany. Naturfreunde. Hey, ex-Mormons. That's got everything to do with birds, right? Right, and we can click on Naturfreunde. Let's go a little bit wider. Throw the net a little bit wider. And again, it's all German. It was posted an hour ago. You can click on hot. You can click on new for stuff that's literally hot off the press. It's fresh. You can click on hot for things that are, I suppose, trending, that are more popular. Okay, Reddit tries to do that to make sure that the content you think is, as interesting to you as possible. And this is just, quite aside from language learning, seeing a dragonfly close up is, you just marvel at creation, really. It's my brother told me that they're some of the most, I think, the most successful hunters in the natural world, but you just see that up close. We can just take a moment to appreciate that. Clicking off to Reddit, going to YouTube. I'm sure we've all used YouTube. What I have done here is I've clicked through to YouTube DE, and the way that I do that is I type in YouTube, and instead of .com, I type in .de. Okay. Now, when you do that, you can go onto your subscription, you can go into your home, and actually it might not look very, very different. Blame the algorithms. But what you can do is you can go and explore. And this is where YouTube, want to put new stuff in front of you that, is neither your subscriptions, it's, it's not stuff that you've watched before. It's kind of, I suppose, out of your echo chamber. They're just trying to put stuff in front of you that you might find interesting. Again, remember, they've created that. So it's stuff that they want you to see. Now, conspiracies, theories, quite aside, it really might not be anything that you're interested in. It might be just stuff that I have absolutely no desire to watch. Okay. Now, the way that you can kind of play around with that is you can start to click through. I mean, we're all amazed, I hope. I hope I'm not the only one that finds it just incredible what sort of things that human beings on the internet, as a collective choose to watch, choose to kind of direct our energies towards. But that really is not up to me. So the way that you can start to teach YouTube, really, teach the algorithm to start putting interesting stuff in front of you. I mean, we're all about learning here, so Soziale Gerechtigkeit, social justice. Now that's interesting. Now again, all of these are opinions. These are people like me who are putting out their views. Okay, you can't come onto YouTube and expect really, without having done a lot of research and gotten to know channels, to figure out who they are and what they're doing. You can't come on here and expect to not get, fake news or opinions. Basically, most of this is just opinion. Okay, so don't just dive in and expect to be getting facts. A lot of this is going to be from a particular perspective. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that you have to do your homework about who you listen to and what you watch. Even if they're really flashy and they've got great animations, just be careful. Because I don't want you. I really, at the end of the day, I don't want you to spend hours and hours and hours and have a less than enjoyable and effective experience, really. Because a lot of this, you'll be spending more than the 4 minutes, say, on this video, which is a big topic, by the way, in Germany at the moment, fake news. It's always amusing to me when the government comes in and tells you what you are not allowed to believe. Really, if the government's telling me that something's fake news, chances are it probably isn't at this point. But there we go. You're going to be spending a lot more time than those 4 minutes and 16 seconds trying to getting to grips with that video. So that would probably be one of my main points about YouTube is the more time that you spend up front finding, trustworthy channels, and channels as well that have a lot of content. Either they've got a huge video bank that's going to take you months to go through, or they're regularly updating whatever they're doing. That's very, very good for you because it means that you've got constant content coming through, and don't underestimate that. You're going to be checking the transcripts, you're going to be going through the vocab, you're going to be listening to it a few times. And if it's a naff video, or it's a video that's blatantly false, if it's just propaganda, then that's going to be a real letdown. It's going to be more of a challenge than an enjoyment. So just really get ahead, do some research beforehand. Don't just click on any old video. Make sure, and this is a constant theme in the language classroom, is make sure that what you're doing would be enjoyable in your own language. I say this to my students all the time. Would you find this enjoyable in English? Would you watch this in English? Yes, brilliant. And you may, there's a high chance that you're going to find this interesting in German. Let's say. All right. So there's tons here. If you were struggling, he seems to be quite a good guy. Mr. Wissen to Go, Geschichte and Terra X. If there's any German learners out there, he seems pretty good. And nice high quality videos with lots of vocab and transcripts, and yeah, he seems to have his head screwed on and he knows what he's talking about. I think that's pretty much everything that I would want to say about YouTube. There's just so much content. We're at the point now. I was kind of in the language classroom as a wee lad before the internet was really the thing it is today. I remember having to go to the corner shop and pay for credit that I typed on my phone, and that gave me enough credit to text and call friends. It was just very, very different. And at that stage, what you had in your textbook, unless you I don't know, you lived close to a languages bookshop, or you regularly went on holiday to the target country, target language speaking country, you kind of just stuck with the textbook. And most of the stuff that you wanted to find was again primarily books. Now we have no excuse for not finding good content. YouTube is brilliant to really delve into the German speaking culture, online culture. there is so much there. It's one of the advantages of being, I suppose, a main language. If you wanted to find, Cherokee or Lakota, you would struggle to find this much content. And what was there, you might have to just make do because there isn't that much. But here with German, French, Spanish, whatever, whichever of the main languages you're wanting to learn, there is so much there, guys. Again, take it more as more of a challenge than a rebuke, but there really is no excuse for not finding good content. It is out there. I'm showing you a few tools here, and how you can find stuff that interests you, and how you can connect with German speakers on the other end of the computer screen. Let's move on to Netflix. Well, we all know
violence is part and parcel of country life. I learned how to stitch